Niagara Falls, make some noise for Lea Thompson! Wireless flyer, or we can do it in stereo. We can do both.
You mean like this? Or like this?
And you can choose whatever you like. You can do that. That works.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, talking with you backstage. You've spent a lot of time in Canada. I feel these last few years. I mean, Spencer Sisters, and you're working in Winnipeg, and then Toronto, and then now you're out in Vancouver. So are you is the paperwork gone through for the citizenship at this point, or how is that?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I'm hoping. I also was directing President Alien. Any President Alien fans? Great show. I directed 3 of those. Hopefully they'll pick it up for another season and I'll direct another one. And so I was doing that in Vancouver, and in Winnipeg I did a Lifetime movie. Can't even remember the name of it. But something bad happened. And I cried. And then I did the Spencer Sisters there. And then weirdly, they canceled that show, and now I'm doing a show called The Chicken Sisters in Vancouver. I don't know. If it's a sister name, I'm in. I'm your sister.
And I guess, is it true, you never know when you read things, but your first, I guess, larger directorial role was in the Goldbergs in 2013? Was that the first? You had done some before. I mean, the internet says that your first major directorial debut was in the Goldbergs in 2013, and you've since done stuff since. But is that accurate? You've done a lot of directing.
Yeah, I did. I did a series of films for Hallmark called The Jane Doe Mysteries. So I directed 2 of those films first, and then I did the Goldbergs was good because it was the first thing I was not in that I directed. So that was a good thing. But I've also done Star Trek Picard. I've done, 2 of those. That was really hard and fun. And Stargirl, that's a great little show. Amazing fights, and that was fun. I got to learn about wire fights and a lot of magic in that one. So that was fun. I did 6 of those, and now I'm doing Will Trent. I'm not sure if that's here. Yeah, it's so good. Isn't Ramon dreamy? He's dreamy.
Well, you think about something like Star Trek Picard, and we have this legacy franchise. Do you have to kind of do some homework to try to make it kind of look like it fits this universe? Is there a certain style? Is there a certain look? Is there a certain finesse to it when you approach something like that, or do you just kind of throw that out the window and do your own thing?
Well, I mean, my very favorite first show was Star Trek. So when I did the 2 parts that I did, when the music dropped in, when it said directed by Lea Thompson, it was like, it went from the Discovery music to and I was weeping. Because I never once ever thought as a little girl growing up watching a TV that wasn't even in my house, because I didn't have a TV, that I would be directing a Star Trek show. Yeah, you try to fit into the groove. But what was interesting was that they actually ended up, it wasn't in my original script, but they ended up giving me a time travel sequence in Picard. So, because clearly I'm a time travel expert. So, I thought that was a funny twist of whatever. But I also got to do car chases. Yeah, but like the Ford versus Ferrari group. So but when you do that, you're in the car with the stuntman. There's a stunt driver, the director's sitting there with a monitor. There's the focus puller, the camera operator, the arm operator. Everybody's in this car, and there's cars like going around you like this. And they're like, do you want it closer? And you're like, maybe, yes! Very, very, very excited to do a car chase of that great expense. I got to do that on one of the Star Trek.
Amazing. And before we throw to our audience questions, again, we've got mics, so you guys can start lining up. If you have a question for Lea. You've done so many amazing projects, both in front of and behind the camera. Of course, Howard Duck, Back to the Future, and all these films that we're all such big fans of. But if you had to kind of put together like a 5 essential Lea Thompson projects, if say someone crawled out from underneath the rock and they didn't know anything about who's this Lea Thompson person. They had to watch 5 things. Maybe it was behind the camera for you in front. What would those 5 projects be? Do you think if you had to nail it down?
You know, I should do this to my 2 grown daughters because they've hardly seen anything. Back to the Future would be the first, and then I did a movie with my daughters called The Year of Spectacular Men. My oldest daughter, yay, somebody's my oldest daughter, she wrote it, she starred in it, she scored it, she wrote and performed and produced 5 of the songs in it. And then my other daughter produced it and starred in it, and I starred in it and directed it. So it was like, and we shot it over the course of an entire year. And it's the only thing I've ever made from scratch. So, you know what I mean? That's really was mine. And although my daughters would say it was theirs, but you know. But it was the only thing I've really like, So that would be one. And then I made a movie called The Substitute Wife, and I'm not even sure you can get it, with Farrah Fawcett and weirdly Peter Weller. And it was a beautiful Western, a very beautiful movie. And then that's 3.
That's 3 and 2 more. You 2 more. I know it's tough. I know.
Some Kind of Wonderful. So I met my husband, and then I think that's a really wonderful movie. And then I made a movie weirdly called The Trouble with the Truth, which is just 2 people talking, a married couple, a divorced couple. And that's like my dinner with Andre. Anyway, I love that movie.
Oh, pretty cool.
Weird ones. Some weird ones and some good ones.
It's good. We like it. We like it. Some of you haven't seen, you got some work to do now. Okay, well, let's get to the audience questions. So let's start over with you, sir. What is your question? Go ahead.
I just want to tell you I'm a big fan of the movie. It's my favorite movie of all time, Back to the Future. I watched it when I was a little kid, and I've always grown up with it. So I have 2 questions. So my first one is, how was the transition from the different ages and the different kind of movies that you did in Back to the Future? Like, how was that transition for you?
It was a long makeup process, and it feels so weird on your face, like it's really, really tight. And you know, it seems so bizarre that even Spielberg and Zemeckis, who were 35 or 37, were making fun of how old I was at 47. They were like, "You're so old at 47." So that was weird, but it's very interesting to see your face transform. I mean, I've never done a creature like in Star Trek, but it's cool to see how it affects your acting. And it takes like 3-4 hours. So that's why now it's cheaper and easier to de-age someone. You know how they're doing that on film? Intentionally or not. They did that to me for a Christmas movie recently that I did with Chris Lloyd. It was called Next Stop Christmas. But it was a time travel thing, so for most of the movie they de-aged me. So that was a lot easier because I didn't have to do anything. Just sit in a chair.
And my second question is like, how often do you keep in contact with any of the cast members from the original crew?
I see Chris Lloyd a lot because of these things. A lot of times we do Comic-Cons together. Probably once or twice a year I see Michael and Tom Wilson, but we all are so honestly grateful and surprised at how much you all still love those movies, and how, you know, even Chris Lloyd with his massively cool resume of, you know, horror and science fiction, Back to the Future is the one that he's most beloved for. So I see them, you know, a couple times a year, and sometimes it's weird because it's only up here. Because like Michael doesn't feel well, so he's kind of sequestered somewhere. But we're just like, hi, how you doing? But in front of 1,000 people. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. Speaking of the de-aging and creating these alternate looks, I know in Back to the Future Part 2, in the alternate year, I think it was 85, there were some prosthetics that were created. Now I heard that you kept some of them. Is that true? Was there any that you took?
I think it's only fair to keep my boobs. I mean, really, somewhere there is a bust of my bust, because they create a bust of your bust. So in some makeup hall somewhere is my boobs. Thank God it was when I was 24. And so yes, I kept the prosthetic boobs, but they really smell after a while. But it would freak people out in the makeup room because, you know, they glue these breasts on me, and, you know, someone would go knock, knock, come into the, they were like shocked when they'd see me, you know, was sitting there just topless, but it was a plastic chest.
Okay. And do you still have this at home, or do you have any pieces of those films at home, or are you someone who hangs on to things?
My husband threw away the boobs, they were smelling. But yes, I still have the prom dress and the earrings and the shoes. Can't fit in it. Even my tiny, 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 tiny daughter, Zoe Deutsch and Maddie Deutsch, can't fit in that dress. I was really thin. I was a tiny little person, but I still have it. Which was actually really good, because they made 3 of those prom dresses. Didn't ever think there was going to be a sequel, and when they went to do Back to the Future 2 and they needed that dress again, the two other ones were gone, already sold. So I said, I have the dress, but I didn't rent it back to them, I just loaned it.
Oh, you had an opportunity to make some
Yeah,
side
I
money
put
right
down
there.
some cash, real cash.
That's all right. Okay, over to you. What is your question?
Good afternoon, Leah. Have 2 questions for you as well. First question is, what is your favorite behind-the-scenes memory of the show you Back to the Future? And second question is, when you did Dance to the Stars, what was your favorite dance and judge on the show?
So favorite scene in Back to the Future and
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, or working with the cast members.
Oh, favorite moment behind the scenes working with
My
the cast.
favorite moment behind the scenes with the cast members, I remember it so vividly. It's a scene when I bring out the cake and I slap it down. I'm going, Joey didn't make parole. In that scene, Crispin Glover was so funny when he did the thing when he was like, we all, I couldn't, they glue the prosthetics right here on your face, and if the glue comes off, it's over. So you can't laugh, so I was like this, and it was like late at night, and you know, it was like a 17-hour day, and Crispin was so funny, and I'll never forget that. We all just had the best time. And I was on Dancing with the Stars. Yes, that's right.
We witnessed to your talents when you entered the stage.
Well, yes. My favorite dance on Dancing with the Stars was one that I got to create. I had a Russian partner who was very strict. So if I tried to tell him, because I was a professional dancer and ballet dancer, and I would try to tell him something and he'd be like, "You're a woman, shut up." And honestly. And so, not that all Russians are like that, but Russian dancers could be very tough. And so there was one that was a modern dance, and he said, I don't know anything about this, you can help me with that. So that dance was really beautiful, and I got to make a tribute to my father who has passed away. And they had pictures of him, and I was crying, and it was lovely. And my favorite judge? Oh, gee, I hated them all. I think the feeling might have been mutual. No, I loved my favorite judge was Carrie Ann, but she was also the girlfriend of my partner in the past, so that was a little dicey.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, over to the mic. What is your question?
Thank you, Ken. Need you back in Simplex pre-shows.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Leah, good seeing you again.
Nice to see you.
So originally, Eric Stoltz was supposed to be playing Marty McFly. Did you work with him before Michael J. Fox in any scenes? And if so, how was it working with Michael and Eric as Marty?
Eric was my friend. I had already done a movie called The Wildlife with Eric, and Eric had a very different approach. And yes, I shot the whole bedroom scene where he wakes up, and in my bedroom, and it was a completely different scene. I mean, he was like literally grossed out. So Michael had a way of like being more like confused or like something. So it was just like had a little bit more of a comic take to it. Every ounce of pressure that I put on him, he would just he would respond in a way that was fun, and it was different with Eric. But I love Eric, and that was really hard. But we shot 6 weeks. The whole skateboard chase, they had shot that with Eric. So what's really interesting is that Michael, for no apparent reason, changes clothes and slicks back his hair because they couldn't reshoot the whole thing, it was too expensive. So they put him in Eric's clothes, and the stunt guy was much taller. He didn't fit, but they somehow managed to put it together, but it was just too expensive to redo.
I remember his last convention here, Billy Zane was the guest, and that was his first big scene in Back to the Future. And it was interesting for him because he got to redo that moment when the recast came. And as an actor, you don't really get that opportunity all that often to, you leave set, you're like, I should have done this, I should have done that, but then you got to go back and do it again. For you, were there any moments like that where, how you played that scene the first time and now getting a second shot at it? Did you do anything different, or did it just depend on, now that person was different you're playing off of, so did that alter your performance at all? Did you?
Yeah, well, they originally wanted to use my close-ups and stuff from that scene with Michael in the bedroom, and I was like, no, it's a completely different scene, don't do that to me. They did use a couple of close-ups in the dining room scene with my family, which annoyed me, my hair changed completely. But yeah, it's interesting to redo a scene like that. I've done that a couple of times.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So much.
Great question. Thank you.
Okay, over to you. What is your question?
I got two. One of all the different timelines of being Lorraine, which one did you like the most? And then in Howard the Duck, did you actually sing and play the instruments?
Yeah, in Howard the Duck, I did actually sing. They kind of held it over me the entire time. They said, we'll decide in the final mix. I think they might have had someone else sing it, whether you can be the singer, which was a little brutal. But I knew how to do all the fingering, but I didn't play the guitar. I think they had Eddie Van Halen doing it or something. But it was really fun to be able to be a rock star. And Back to the Future, my favorite scene?
Of the different
the different iterations of Lorraine.
Yeah.
Well, I feel incredibly grateful to have such a great part in the movie I'm most known for. I mean, it was a great part. I love Bifferific Lorraine. I still wish someone would let me play her now that I'm an old broad. They're still I'm playing the sweetest person you've ever met in the new series I'm doing. I'm like, come on, guys. I played this crazy person and I'd like to play her again, but I liked Bifferific Lorraine. She was hilarious.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the question. Okay, go ahead. What is your question?
Hi, this isn't a question about your movies, but about your show, Switched at Birth. I'm just wondering if you still know sign language from that show.
I used to have a really good brain when I was doing that show, so I would learn the lines and the signs the same, an hour before I shot the scene. So they kind of went in and went out. I remember basic things, but I'm not fluent. A lot of the actors actually became fluent, and I'm always so embarrassed when I'm not. But
You were really good on the show.
thank you.
I would have never known.
Thank you. I love that show. I still love all the actors. We still hang out. We still love each other, and that was nice. It was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you. I guess when you come to an event like this, what are you a fan of? What are you growing up or now? What did you watch? What were you really into? Who would you line up for?
Oh gosh, so many things. I do love science fiction. I've always loved science fiction. Not so much in the superhero world, but I can get into that. But I love science fiction. As a director, I like to watch so many things. I have a very kind of diverse idea. I like stories with women, because somehow I can relate to that in a lot of ways. And I'm into a lot of things, but not
Not to put you on the spot. What was the last movie you watched, by the way?
The last movie
Do you recall?
at the theater was Dune.
Okay.
I saw Dune. I saw what is it called? Not Revolution. Civil War. Civil War was amazing. I saw Barbie. I saw I've been to the theater a lot. The Fall Guy. I love that. I don't know. is a dream. Oh my God. So good.
Okay, let's go back to the audience. What is your question? Go ahead.
Hi, nice to
Hi.
see you.
As I told you at the table, Space Camp made me crush on you. Back to the Future trilogy, I told you why, that made me fall in love with the entire cast. And honestly, Howard the Duck sealed the deal. Was there ever any talk of you like doing any kind of other music after that, like any kind of recording?
I've been lucky enough to sing, like I sang a bunch of times in Switched at Birth, and I sing a lot for charities, and I did cabaret on Broadway, and so I like to sing, and it's just that they kind of tend to just, I don't know, all the time I'm always singing. I sing, and everybody always asks me, and it's usually when I'm out of shape, because singing, people who don't sing don't understand. It's like you really have to be in shape to sing well, and so I'm not in great shape. But I loved singing in Howard the Duck. I think singing is so great for everybody. If we all sang and danced, we'd all be happier.
I literally got Howard the Duck out of my head like last week.
Yes, I'll start it again.
And since everyone else is going to, real quick for Star Trek Picard, how did you get that performance out of Michelle Hurd?
Oh gosh, she's so great.
No spoilers for anyone.
It's
It
just,
was really moving.
I think it really helps when you're an actor, when you're directing actors. I think they feel safe. And I just have had some beautiful actresses that I've been able to direct, and she's the best. I mean, I love her, and it's just like permission. You know, you're safe, you can go there. So that's how I kind of operate as a director.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, this better be a Dennis the Menace question. Come on. You guys will let me down. Come on.
My question is more with regards to the directing, and specifically with Picard. When it comes to directors and someone brings you on, was this something that you reached out to them and said, I'd like to direct one of those episodes, or did the showrunners come to you with regards to that?
Well, this is so sad because I've been directing for like 18 years, but Terry Matalas is like a complete Back to the Future nerd. He like dragged the original #1 DeLorean off the back lot where it was rotting, and spent 2 years with a whole group of nerds and like an insane journey restoring it perfectly. And I think it's maybe now in the Smithsonian or something like that. So he is a huge Back to the Future nerd. He liked my directing, but I think it put me a little bit up on the list, you know, because he's like, hey, I want that magic, you know. So he gave me a big shot, because even though I'd done big budget special effects, this was even more big budget. So he gave me a real shot, and there are people, and I love that. It's weird, they don't give me the shot acting, but they'll like go, here, take my $10 million and make something. They won't like put me in their thing, but they'll let me direct it. It's really funny. But he's, when you go in his office, it's all this Back to the Future stuff. And I love him, he's great. So I did a good job.
I haven't had a chance to see season 3 yet, so I'm looking forward to that. Since you're part of the Star Trek universe now, hopefully we'll see you in Vegas in August. Or one of those eventually.
Yeah, I know. I have to get them to give me a good part in one, so I can get into that Star Trek thing.
It's going to be interesting for you too. You know, when Back to the Future came out, you know, it was the early days of like, you know, CGI, now doing some Star Trek, and that this industry has developed so much since. How do you think, you know, Back to the Future would be different if it was made today? Like, do you think that would aid the film, or do you think it would kind of lose its charm in a way? Because I find, like, you know, going back, sometimes less is more. We see so much now. There's so much that we're given. The imagination doesn't really work as hard. Like, how do you think it would change? It would change the film.
I feel that way. I think it's really interesting. You know, because like I don't know the truth behind this, but it feels like the new Mad Max was a lot of CGI, and the one before it was like none. And you can just feel it. You know, it's like you can feel that it's real. I think people love to look at real faces, and I did a lot of. I mean, there was none of this stuff when I did when I did Red Dawn, every single thing that happened on Red Dawn was real. They didn't even add fire to anything. It was like everything that blew up really blew up, and not everybody was shot died. That didn't happen. But I think I know that Howard the Duck would have been better now, but I don't think Back to the Future would have been. And it was, just a joke that they said. They never thought there was going to be a sequel. When they flew the car at the end, they were just like, oh, let's do that. And then when they had to do Back to the Future 2, they were like, how do we do this? And what do we do with Elizabeth Shue? Why is she in the car? So anyway, yeah, I think some of those old-fashioned special effects were really amazing.
Yeah, totally. I think that was what the charm of it is, and then that practicality and knowing that it was real and they're really doing this, and then the techniques that they used to like hide things back then was just so much more almost ingenious. Now it's like we'll just wipe that out later.
It's crazy. And you end up spending more money.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll fix it later, and it ends up costing more money. And sometimes as a director, it really helps me that I know how to do these visual effects, special effects, which means in real time. And it ends up saving the money.
Totally. We have time for just one last question, so we'll throw it over to you. Go ahead.
Hi, Lea.
Hello, dear.
Just a question about the Back to the Future musical. So, saw that in New York City. I know it's coming here in Toronto next summer. Just wanted to know if you have seen that or if you were involved in any way consulting, because I don't know if anyone here has seen it, but for Back to the Future fans like myself and a lot of people here, since we were kids, it was a great experience seeing that musical, and it was so well done, just the innuendos of the way that the character quirks and things like that. So I just wondering if you had any thoughts on that, or if you were consulted in any way, or anyone else from the cast, and just love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, what I was going to just bring this up is because of the fact that there were no really special effects, that actually makes that musical more interesting, because you know it's all happening in real time. The spoiler alert, it's got most of the same things that the movie has, except for the Libyan terrorists. But they changed that plot line. But thankfully, it lends itself to kind of this lovely old-fashioned thing, and because it's got this crazy thing that the movie had, which was like 1980s music and 1950s music, and this amazing score, that all makes the music really interesting for the musical. And I was really happy that they didn't really water down my character. I thought they were going to Disneyfy my character and not make her have her hots for the sun, which is really not is funny. So I like the musical, and you guys will all like it. It's really fun and magical. I was not consulted, no, but I was asked to come to the premieres and get my picture taken. But I really enjoyed it, and the cast was really lovely. And I know Roger Bart really well, who plays Doc. And it's interesting how he does it. He doesn't imitate Chris Lloyd at all. And he really has his own take on it. But it's so nice. I'm so crazy to have done something 40 years ago that's so iconic that they made a musical now. I think maybe they'll make a movie of the musical. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it.
It's not technically like a remake, right?
No, it's not
then we're good, right?
No.
It's safe.
It's safe.
It's safe. And lastly, for our last minute, this is the shameless, self-promotion portion. So where can people find you? What do you got next?
Oh, that's not shame. Thank you for asking me.
You just go. You go. The floor is yours.
Yes, I am doing this show called Chicken Sisters, which is going to be on the Hallmark Channel soon, and I'll be directing some more Will Trents, and then I have a lot of stuff that's not quite perfectly there that I'm working on, and I think Lea K. Thompson on Instagram, and Lea Thompson, I think, _ or something on Twitter, whatever. I don't even know, but we'll find me. And you know what, I had a really great time here. I loved meeting all of you, and thank you so much. You're so kind and so lovely. And this is a beautiful place, and it's nice to be with you all here. And thanks for all your great questions. And thank you. You're so lovely. Sorry I was playing Marty Lorraine with you, but
That's great. I'm glad I finally got to do this. It's such you say, like, you know, not to meet your heroes, but I feel if your hero is Lea Thompson, you gotta meet Lea Thompson. Because you're so lovely.
I'm taking some pictures and signing a little bit more. So it's nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you.